It sounds like what we're talking about here are two things. We're talking about a spiritual component of God, his Ten Commandments, his expectations with respect to how he views sin, how man's soul is redeemed from that sinful state. All of that needs to be taught once again, but also understanding the sinfulness of man, that you are and we are going to have from time to time people try to perpetrate acts of evil. You need to take a precaution to deal with that. And so arming people, whether it be the city of Kennesaw, Georgia, or whether it be appropriately trained and armed people at a public school, that is not something, Sam, that is inappropriate. So the introduction of God and the introduction of appropriate security, those two things, Sam, are curative solutions, are they not?
Well, Dave, they are. And this thought just came to my mind. We're talking about arms, and we're talking about examples of people arming themselves. Let me go and say this, that a people that are not armed with the truth will not be protected by only a gun. We must be armed with the truth. That's the moral constraint. That's to say that takes us back to the spiritual component. There is God. There is value in life. He made it. Therefore, I must view my fellow man and his property as a possession that they have given of God. Without that basic truth, Dave, the gun does not become the defender of life. It becomes the taker of life. And so in all of our discussion, for all these guys that are standing up and saying, let's clamp down on guns, and who never say anything about the matter of truth and the value of life and the source of that, Dave, no nothing that we do are going to be able to solve the problems we have. You know, when you think about the schools, think of all the circumstances. We have all of this sexual activity between students and teachers. It's all over the place, right? We hear that. This violence we have in the school, the kinds of things we have with disrespect of students to teachers, disrespect of teachers to students that we hear so much about. Dave, all of those are linked to truth and God as the center point. So we can't talk about public policy of any type or law or change of law until we first recognize where its whole thing's coming from, and that is God's law and the presence of God. That's why our founders started where they did, the Ten Commandments, on which they built legal system. They built a respective law of rights that came from God, and our pulpits preached it. They have to work together, Dave, or we won't be able to make enough laws or do enough things to protect all the people.